But there's one thing still, though, that I still feel a bit like with everything that went on last year, there could be just one thing that will spiral me out of control again. So, it was great to be up at Alicia and doing what I did, but I've still come back a bit like, oh, it will only take one thing to get me back into that spiral that I found myself in late last year. So any ideas around what I can do? It feels like my glass is 2/3 full.
I would challenge you a little bit and say that if you're feeling like that, your glass is definitely not 2/3 full. I would say that we're probably looking at a situation where your glass is perhaps maybe 1/3 full, and that if we have one sort of big thing come along, it may not even be a big thing. We may have something come along that, a sort of speed bump in life or some sort of event that sort of happens, that you're at that stage where you've got a glass that's 1/3 full, that event could actually just empty the glass out. So if we look at got a glass of water here, you can see that this glass of water is about half full. So for us to feel generally well and feel good and feel consistently well, we need to have our glass at least full, but we're working towards, having it 2/3 full. It would be lovely if we could all have a full glass. It is hard as human beings to keep our glass full all the time. But what we're looking at is a situation where think about the water in the glasses like insurance when life happens. So if your glass is like 2/3 full or a half full and you take a bit of a hit in life, then you're going to empty down to half, or you're going to empty down to 1/3. If your glass is only 1/3 full and something happens, you'll empty the glass back out. Does that kind of make sense?
That's what it felt like. It doesn't make absolute sense, but that felt like that late last year. I felt like there was maybe, sometimes you go to your glass and you're a bit thirsty and you go to drink it and it's like, oh shit, I got 2 drops out of that. That's what it was feeling like at the end of last year.
Yeah, and a lot of people were feeling that way, Mark. It was a big year for a lot of people. I called it the year of the hustle, where everybody hustled after the pandemic to rebuild their lives. So a lot of people were feeling like that at the end of the year. And so the way that we kind of have to deal with that situation is to make sure that we're consistently always filling the glass back up. So we do that with self-care, any of our self-care routines, eating well, getting enough sleep, movement, all of those really super basic things. If we can do those things well, consistently, then we're filling the glass back up, because we can't always avoid things that are going to empty the glass back out. That's the nature of being a human being. But the thing that we do have control over is how we fill the glass.
So what's coming to mind for me, I'm going to say early days of a mindset shift. Doing nothing is doing something. I talk about this a lot now with people. The recovery part of it is that I'm training less now than what I used to be, training less intensively than what I used to be, doing a bit more restorative work. Is that a bit of a sign to you that's saying that I'm looking to fill my glass up a different way? I used to think filling my glass up was getting 170 beats per minute on my heart rate for 35 minutes and then I'd feel fitter and I'd feel better, where I think that was actually draining water out of my glass.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So some things can be cup fillers and drainers at the same time. So high intensity exercise can be a cup filler, but if we're tired, we're fatigued, we're dealing with injury, we're dealing with illness, then that might not be the best option for us, because it puts stress on our body and it can drain the cup. The other things that I would call cup fillers and emptiers at the same time would be being a parent. Definitely a cup filler, lots of love there, but also can be a massive cup drainer as well. Doing a job that you love, you and I are so fortunate we get to do what we love every day. Cup filler, but also if you have a big week, cup drainer as well. So those that sort of sit in both categories. So it's about finding the balance with that. But definitely, I think we forget about rest. Like, rest is a massive cup filler. So just doing nothing, which society doesn't really let us do, is huge for filling the cup. And allowing yourself to rest without feeling guilty can go a long way.
Fantastic. I think that's great advice. And I feel pretty good that I am doing less now and sometimes doing nothing, but I'm feeling okay about doing nothing. So I think that's worked really well.